It's Friday night, and what the fuck are you doing? I'll tell you what you're doing. You're sitting home dreaming about sweaty, built men in underwear. And who better to do it with than the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast? And here's your host, Iconoclast and Dick Taco.
Welcome to the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast. I'll fight you.
I'm your guest host, Hannibal.
I wish we had him.
Bullshit. He could suck my nuts. Anyway.
No, it would be really good if we had a show with him and New Jack.
Dude, I can't have him in the same room. I say so much shit about him, he's going to cave my face in. He's about 6'5", he's close to 300 pounds. Thank God I fight dirty. All right. So
this is our second attempt at recording.
We just had a little recording earlier, but my associate here revealed his superhero identity, so we had to start over. But anyway, I'm gonna get right to the news.
My passport. Yeah, we'll do the stuff.
We'll go right to the news.
Yeah, we'll do the stuff that we did before at the end.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. Nobody knows because they didn't hear it. But anyway, and now the news. So Eric Bischoff says AEW should consider bringing in Scott D'Amore.
Depends on how much money he wants.
How much?
It depends on how much money.
It depends on how much money he wants.
It depends on how much money he wants. What can he bring to the table?
Well, I mean, the guy seems to be. He kept TNA going. I mean,
yes, but does AEW really need him?
They need somebody else back there that knows what they're doing, and he's actually a guy that was a former talent too, who knows the game.
Also, Bischoff runs his mouth about a lot of things.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. You get upset about these guys saying shit, but these guys like Cornette and him, they are proven pedigrees in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, but like you said, Bischoff doesn't even remember shit.
Well, that's fine. He's in his 60s now. He's almost 70, for Christ's sake. I don't remember shit like I used to. That fucking J.O. and a half. Wrestling news.
Find his ass with his two hands and a roadmap.
Yeah, couldn't find his ass if he sat on his hands. Wrestling news. Pro wrestling news. Former ref Earl Hebner said he was fired by Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis. We're going to get more on Earl later because Earl had a lot to say about Vince McMahon and what he says has been going on for many, many years. But like I said, we'll get to that after the break. Now, Thunder Rosa doesn't like how Seth Rollins has been constantly put down. Said the press conference didn't do anything to help him. Seth will face the winner of Elimination Chamber, and there's even talk of him and Cody taking on the Rock and Roman at some point beforehand, possibly night one.
Well, no one likes Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, they don't, because I don't know. Has she even been on TV?
A little bit on Collision, but she was injured, and before that, there was a lot of backstage drama with her working stiff. She broke Britt Baker's nose, supposedly on purpose. Or
we are simulating combat here, people. It does happen.
Or at the very least, she was being careless.
Well, there's plenty of people that aren't safe in the ring. Rollins, I always thought, was one of them. When I watched him, almost paralyzed Sting, and he broke Cena's nose, and they slow-moed it. He jump-kneed him in the face, and John actually turns. You can actually see his nose. Like, they had to stop the match and set his nose. Did you ever see how they do that on the sideline? You could do it yourself. You put a pencil up your nose and just go...
You were not from, like, The Punisher or something.
No, I did that years ago, before The Punisher. That's how you do it. You got to keep it straight. You just go... As long as you do a clean break right in the bridge of your nose.
Clean break!
Yeah, on the ropes. Kenyon McMahon, son of... Now, this isn't really wrestling, but it's interesting. Kenyon McMahon, one of Shane McMahon's sons, is a defensive back in football. He's committed to University of North Carolina. His other son, Declan, goes to Alabama. He's a running back.
Whatever.
Declan. Well, look, he's like the only McMahon we can talk about because Steph's name's going to be Mud after this episode, too.
Here comes the money! Here we go. Money talks.
That's your grandparents' Ringtone when they used to call me. Tama Tonga, final NJPW match announced since he's expected to join WWE. I didn't know he was expected to go to WWE until I read that before.
Yeah, supposedly he's going to be going to NXT, of course, because they don't know how to. They said.
Well, I think you could do more putting him in NXT. Probably he would do more for NXT than NXT would do for him. But he's not a gigantic name. You could put him there first. Like, I disagree with.
He's a founding member of Bullet Club.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit about that.
Good point.
But I don't agree that if Okada went there, that he should get funneled through NXT. Some of these guys have to go right to the main roster. I mean, like I said, the way they do wrestling today, Ric Flair, if he left, would probably go through NXT. And I don't understand it. So, but anyway, you want to talk about this Dave Meltzer thing, or do you want me to? Because I don't know what's up with Dave lately. He used to be the biggest AEW fanboy. Now he's pulling his dick out and urinating on everything they do.
I don't know.
He said he thinks if they sign Okada, Monet, and Ospreay a unit 18 months ago, they'd be able to turn things around. But he doesn't think so now. And I wrote, what gives? He was always an AEW fanboy. Now he pisses all over him. Like, what's his problem?
I don't know.
I don't know. Him and Tony have a spat.
I do want to talk about the card for Revolution. Because AEW still does put on better shows. Revolution,
I am into. Oh, dude, I'm going to tell you honestly, as much as stuff I say, their wrestling is better.
The only reason
I like all the stories, because some of the stories go nowhere, and you have to admit that. Some of those stories go right down the toilet.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Because they have a more of a focus on an in-ring product. But you know who also didn't really have storylines? ECW. And they're pretty much universally regarded as one of the best wrestling promotions ever.
Yeah, but they're gone. Staying power is another thing.
Whatever.
Seth and Cody, I wrote, are like the new Mega Powers. All they needed was the handshake. Hogan and Savage with their little promo on the 212 Raw. Did you see it where he said he's going to be Cody's shield against the bloodline? That's so funny. Stupid ass.
So. Whatever. I give zero shit. Seth looks fucking stupid.
Are you in a bad mood?
Seth Rollins looks like a parody of himself.
Well, I remember what I said last week.
That St. Patrick's Day suit.
He looked like he was a fucking mummer, for Christ's sake.
Again, he looks like a parody of himself.
Yeah, caricature of himself, yeah.
Like Jeff Hardy.
He's steadily gone down from being like probably the best in-ring wrestler they had to being like with the puffy shirts and all that shit. The music thing I kind of dig, where everybody sings it. But everybody sings everything anymore. How many AEW shows are going to do? They sing Judas for 2 minutes after it goes off.
Whatever. I fucking hate Chris Jericho.
Oh, I got notes about him on here too. Because you sound like you hate everybody. Is everything okay? Is everything going okay with school? You got problems?
I got work I got to do. It's finished.
What?
I have a project to do. I thought.
Oh, okay. That's fine. What are you trying to censor yourself? You don't have to start over again. All right. Adam Copeland and Eddie Kingston apparently rubbing talent the wrong way. Did you hear about this?
No.
Said they're speaking out of turn. And I wrote, because I really am getting sick of the younger wrestlers talk about they don't want to hear shit from the older wrestlers.
But I don't like these stories because it never gives names.
But they never do.
Who are these younger stars?
Well, I don't know. They're never specific with it. They're always like the
so
group
to me, they're meaningless.
Yeah, but if it's out there and they're talking about it, like, you know damn well, like, a lot of the guys there are, like, beyond reproach, I think, at AEW.
Who?
The Bucks. Kenny, you think you could talk to them and offer them ideas? Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think the whole outlook of AEW is big on accepting outside ideas. That's my observation. And the fact that this fuck Tony Khan talks about the possibility of becoming a wrestler. Is he out of his fucking mind? Tell me you wouldn't like to see that little runt get his neck squeezed. That'd be like getting a hold of Jimmy Hart when I was a kid. Shoving his megaphone up his ass.
Jimmy Hart.
Yeah. But like, I read that earlier last week that he is, what was I talking about? Fuck, I'm reading about this Sportskeeda stuff with Dutch Mantel because Sportskeeda pisses me off.
Why?
So, no, but Tony being a wrestler is the worst idea I ever heard. Vince being a wrestler was one thing. Vince was 6'4" and about 260 pounds of muscle. This guy's like 112 pounds after he has a couple sodas. You know? Who's he going to wrestle?
There's one thing that's true, and I was just talking about this earlier with somebody, that AEW does not, the cons don't need to run AEW like a business because money's not an issue.
No, it's not. I agree.
So they can run the company differently than WWE does. WWE's got shareholders and is part of this huge corporate, monstrosity.
Yeah. Now it really is, because apparently when they had shareholders and Vince was running, Vince was still just doing whatever the hell he wanted.
But like AEW can, they don't have to worry about money or shareholders or profit or anything.
No.
He can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that was all just to make Vince a billionaire. That's all that was. When they went live, when they went public, they should have just kept it alone. But like I've said, I was getting annoyed reading this thing about Sportskeeda. You know what I was talking about? When you swipe right on my phone, there's one certain area that gives you so much fucking clickbait that's not even true. It's Sports fucking Keeda. They suck balls, and I hope they hear this. I'm sure they don't, because they're not one of the 8 people that listen to us. But the only thing I like on them is they do, Dutch Mantel does another podcast with them, and I like Dutch. But every time I click on it, it's like Roman Reigns going to defend against 51-year-old superstar returning, and you click on it, you're like, ooh, it's bullshit. It's not even a real idea. It's not even anything that's on the fucking radar. Fuck you, Sportskeeda. Right in the ass with a big rubber dick, and then break it off and beat you with the rest of it.
Oh, this is this headline I just saw. WWE is supposedly planning
What's it say?
A match between Jay and Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania 40.
I saw that earlier. But what's it going to be? Just put a mirror up. Put one of them in the ring.
Ah! They're not going to be able to fight each other. They're going to.
Like, why are you doing the same moves I am on the other side?
Oos.
No, but I hope they do that instead of seeing Jay against Gunther. Because I would root for Gunther. You can't have Jay beat Gunther after this historic Intercontinental title run. Lose to that little shit. He wears a fucking Yeet shirt. Your cousin wears a Yeet shirt. He's 12. And it's not from Jey Uso.
Uso.
Oh, Uso stupid. Rocky Romero joins the AEW front office officially.
Uso crazy.
Yeah. Eye patch Rocky Romero. He's
That's
back.
Good. Rocky Romero's a very experienced.
I like Rocky Romero. Roppongi Vice, baby.
He's worked with New Japan's front office for years. He's not officially signed to AEW, but
no, it's in a backstage or office capacity. It has nothing to do with.
Because he's in a weird position because he's officially signed to New Japan.
Yeah, he's been there for years because he was with Beretta. What was the other tag team he was in? Don't tell me. It was Roppongi Vice, and then it was that's Kushida and Alex Shelley was the Time Splitters. Right?
Yes, that's the Time Splitters.
Who else was Rocky Romero in? Or is it Beretta I'm thinking of? Because Beretta's in Roppongi Vice, right?
And Best Friends.
It's Beretta I'm thinking of, okay.
With Chuck Taylor, your favorite.
Ugh.
The Kentucky Gentleman.
Muffin Top Taylor? No shape whatsoever is he in.
That's what Jim Ross...
If he's in that kind of shape, I could be on the cover of Muscle Magazine.
Well, Jim Ross was saying that, I remember one time I was listening to him commentate a match that he was in, and he was like, Chuck Taylor reminds me of, beautiful Bobby Eaton. He's a guy who's not not in the traditional shape, but he can still wrestle.
How dare he sully the memory of beautiful Bobby Eaton? Because Bobby Eaton was one of the top 5 workers in the business ever. Chuck Taylor sucks. See, Steve McMichael, Mongo, former Four Horsemen, got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Please, the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, but they're only doing it. I feel bad because you see what he looks like? He's about this fucking big now. He's got Lou Gehrig's disease. He's going to die. I mean, that's probably why. I mean, the guy was a good football player, too.
Yeah, Paul Roma was in the Four Horsemen.
I called somebody.
Brian Pillman was in the Four Horsemen. Chris Benoit was in the Four Horsemen.
Mrs. Taco was watching Chicago Med the other night, and there's this one old Italian wop dude on there. I told her, he looks like Paul Roma. I call him Paul Roma all the time. She goes, is that his name? Who's Paul Roma? I'm like, nobody. It's just a wrestler. So.
Paul Roma.
Yeah, from the Young Stallions with Jimmy Powers, whose leg I watched get broken in August of '89 in Wildwood by Mega Man Tom McGee.
Who?
Mega Man Tom McGee, another guy Vince liked. He put his elbow right in the middle of his shin and pulled. I was standing by the
I think we were talking about this once when we were talking about who the best jobber of all time was.
Yeah, I brought up Mega Man because I saw him because he was in unbelievable shape. That's why.
The best jobber, of course, is Sandy Beach.
Conan Chris Walker.
Who?
Conan Chris Walker. He was in Global Wrestling Federation. He wound up in WWF after they went out of business. Speaking of WWF, Shotzi suffers serious knee injury at NXT taping. Did you see that?
No.
She's out for a while. I did not see it happen, but apparently from what I heard, it is severe. So Dusty Cup winners Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin win the NXT tag titles. So and Rex Steiner.
So you're NXT champion.
Don't you forget it. I'll go behind you so many times you'll think you're being a revolving door. I stole that from Bobby Heenan.
Baron Corbin.
Now this is a divisive comment I'm going to put up next. It's not from me. It's per cage side seats. Orange Cassidy, they say, is now a lazy deathmatch wrestler.
I don't think that's true.
I don't either. But Tony Khan booked a Texas death match for 214 Dynamite.
I saw part of it.
Yeah, but you know what? It depends on who he's in the death matches with. Like Moxley's always like, I'm gonna bleed. Like Cassidy can wrestle.
Hey, shut up. Moxley can wrestle too. Yeah. Moxley knows more moves than Punk.
The only thing he wrestles with is sobriety. Ooh.
Punk knows 3 moves.
Nobody's talking about him. You're like one of the goddamn Republicans. When they bring up Trump, he's like, well, Biden, he didn't do it. Don't bring up Punk.
It's like, when you say Moxley can't wrestle, I'm saying Punk can't wrestle. Moxley can wrestle better than Punk. Moxley knows Bulldog Choke, King Kong Lariat, the cattle mutilation, the
Nothing.
The paradigm shift, bunch of others. All of his hardcore moves. Punk knows go to sleep, Pepsi plunge, and Anaconda Vice.
Nobody's talking about Punk.
He called me.
Don't you think he would have killed his wife a half hour earlier if Hannibal would have picked up? I do. I'd have shot her then myself. I'd have shot her if I heard his voice on the voicemail.
I didn't see anything. So I stabbed!
Scott D'Amore attempted to buy TNA before Hard to Kill. Did you hear about that?
No, from who? Anthem?
I guess. He was looking into it.
There's no way he has got that kind of money.
How do you know? Some of these things, you don't know how much they're worth. Chris Jericho said when he found out how much Vince McMahon bought WCW for, he could have bought it for. He only bought WCW for $4 million. That's it.
But it wasn't worth that much.
Well, yeah, but he was buying it for the tape library.
So I wanted to talk about something here. Speaking of the best jobbers in wrestling, I don't believe we've ever actually talked about this on air before.
Who?
The best jobbers. So this is a list of the best jobbers in wrestling history.
Wait, you want to see if I remember any of them? Good.
S.D. Jones.
Oh, yeah. Lost in 9 seconds to King Kong Bundy, WrestleMania 1.
Special Delivery Jones.
From Philly.
Pablo Marquez.
No fucking idea.
As El Puerto Ricano.
El Puerto Ricano?
Like in ECW.
The Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? I don't remember him. I watch ECW every Friday night.
Johnny Rods.
Oh, the unpredictable Johnny Rods. He trained Taz and a bunch of people. He's a good wrestler.
The Italian.
Bigger in the 70s. Oh, the Italian Stallion. He's another fucking fat little pumpkin loser.
Mike Jackson.
Don't remember him either.
The 70-year-old Mike Jackson.
Never heard of him. Mike Jackson?
Yeah, he's 70 years old.
Oh, the black guy, Mike Jackson. He used to pitch for the Phillies when I was a kid. But...
Dwayne Gill.
Oh, Gilbert. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, you saw him at Sacred Heart High School.
Yeah.
With the Blue Meanie.
And I saw the Pitbulls, too, that night.
The Brooklyn Brawler.
Steve Lombardi. He was Pat Patterson's fuck toy, apparently, from what I heard.
And he was also...
He was his jizz rag.
God. He was also Knuckleball Schwartz.
I never knew that till you told me. Because you know why? Because nobody cared. Like the goon I knew was Bill Irwin because you saw his face.
George South.
Oh, George South, yeah. He's the one that Marty Jannetty broke his neck with the rocker dropper.
Iron Mike Sharp.
One of the toughest guys you ever saw. With that leather thing on his arm. He used to like rake people's faces with it.
And number 1, Barry Horowitz.
He used to come out to Hava Nagila because he was Jewish. He actually got a push. He had a big feud with Skip, Chris Candido, in 1995. I almost said 2005, but
all right. Chris Candido, is he? Yeah, right. He's dead, right? He died.
He died from after a surgery. Yeah. Stone Cold versus CM Punk being floated around the Mover Mill. Stone Cold said in an interview that he thinks he could improve on what he did with Owens last year. That was per Sports Illustrated. Do you have a phlegm ball or are you sleeping?
Sleeping, because that match would put me to sleep.
I don't really see. The more the years go by. But you know what? Now just hear me out here. Punk, the way he looks, fighting with Austin might make him look good. because he's old and slow.
It's like with Steve Austin when he did that thing with Lance Storm where he would bring out a blanket and a pillow. He would lay down and take a boring.
He's funny.
Boring. Because they had that thing where Lance Storm was boring and he tried to get a personality.
Yes, I remember. QT Marshall returns to AEW.
Because he can't find a job anywhere else.
But he's as a vice president. It doesn't say as a talent.
Good, because he can't fucking wrestle.
Yeah, but Daniel Garcia's even out there getting something now.
What?
Daniel Garcia had a championship match against MJF. Almost put you in the loony bin after that.
Well, Daniel Garcia is entertaining and is actually a good wrestler. Have you seen his dance?
I saw him in that last pay-per-view. I saw him that he was wrestling on.
Wrestling.
Bully Ray on Busted Open Radio said he's never seen Roman Reigns become so secondary in his life.
What does that
since
mean?
The Rock came back. He's playing second fiddle to The Rock. I can see it already. The Rock is taking over the bloodline, and they're going to throw him out. And you're going to watch him get one of the biggest babyface turns ever. He's going to have nobody but Happy Heyman over there.
Well, what if Heyman turns on him, too?
I can't see it. Heyman's better off. Heyman doesn't get enough time being the manager of a group. He needs to be out there speaking for his client. Braun Breaker, they were teasing that too because, Brock's going to be. And you know what? To be honest, with Brock's absence, I don't have this in the format, but I was thinking about this because I was listening to somebody else. The whole thing with him and the scandal being wiped out. They must know a lot more than they're letting on at TKO about what has happened. Because all Brock is guilty of is being a pervert and asking for a piss video. He didn't, as far as that paper, he didn't do anything.
He was going to.
But he didn't.
The only reason he didn't.
If I was going to rob you and I didn't.
Well, you see, that gets into a bunch of.
You're right.
That gets into a debate about philosophy and stuff like that, about intention versus
You're
action.
Right.
Like, personally, I think he's just as guilty because the only reason he didn't have sex with her is because he was too drunk.
Yeah, and I need you to comment on something. Because remember remember the week we did the sex scandal when we broke the whole thing with the paperwork? Remember they had somebody there, and I'll get back to this when we do the stuff on the scandal after the break. But they had in there, because you're the one that said it, they talk about Brock as the former UFC champion. And then there's a WWE superstar.
Yes.
These people are talking about like they're both Brock. And I don't know if that's true.
I don't think they're the same
person.
I'm
wondering. You're not going to know until it comes out. But
I don't think they're the same person.
Because why wouldn't you just say the UFC guy?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that later because, like I said, I found a guy who breaks down.
Yeah, it's very possible Brock is in violation of the Mann Act. He traveled across state lines for illegal sexual activity.
And technically, there's no money changing hands, but this is basically the condition of this girl's employment. So there is money.
Well, not only that, but, according to what we read in the lawsuit brief, this was all Vince, orchestrated all of this to make Brock sign another contract. That is money changing hands.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of money changing hands. I'm saying there's not direct money for sex like a prostitute going hand to hand.
Yeah, but that's not necessary.
That's not. And it doesn't have, and from I listened to Stephen P. New a couple times.
Oh God.
He knows what he's talking about with law. Though. He said there doesn't have to be money changing hands. It's to go to the state line. This woman's there for a specific reason for sex. There's a schedule, like he was setting her up with people. But like I said, we'll get back.
There's supposed to be a dinner first, right? And then
he took Brock to dinner, and Brock was too drunk to go. He went back to the apartment, to Vince's apartment with him, not to the woman's. But we'll get to that after the break.
They live in the same building.
Yeah, but he's all the way upstairs. Yeah, and I don't know if he still has that place or not. They don't talk about that, but it's been really quiet lately on everything.
Well, Vince has disintegrated, so
he's better. He's smart. He's fucking hiding somewhere. I'd be in Costa Rica.
I just saw something. Brock was out for the first time in public.
With Sable for his daughter. See his daughter? She's the chick version of him.
Yeah,
doing shot put. Oh God.
I don't know what college it was, but
I forget. I saw her though before I saw him.
Yeah, I know. I've seen what
he was out there. He had glasses on. I didn't even know he wore glasses. He had like his hair back and everything.
Yeah. He looked miserable.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll get back to the scandal stuff later. But Elimination Chamber from Perth, Australia, this Saturday will start at 5 fucking a.m.
Who's gonna watch that?
Well, I'm already up at 5 a.m., but I guarantee you, I won't remember that it's
on a Saturday.
Yeah, I'm always up at 5 a.m. Ever since I had kids, I'm always up at 5 a.m. I feel more productive when I get up at 5 a.m.
I'll be up at like 10 a.m. to noon.
Because by like 3:30, I'm done. So,
No. So you also have in here about Jade Cargill getting removed. What's that about?
Hold on. Let me see. She got taken out of the elimination
Why?
match. I don't know.
Because she sucks.
I think they're starting to realize she either needs more work or
They wasted money on her.
Well, they definitely wasted money on her because she don't do shit. I couldn't tell you one thing she did in ECW, AEW, and I saw her many times. I couldn't remember one match of hers that's memorable.
She was. I mean, I know some that are memorable, but not for the right reasons.
Because they sucked ass. Or she fucked up so bad.
Like I remember because the big thing with her is that she was the first TBS champion.
Yes, they basically made that belt for her because she was undefeated.
Like they had that. I remember the finals of the tournament that they had was her versus Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soso?
And that match.
Hepatitis B, Ruby Soso?
God. You were seeing, like it was obvious. You could see Ruby was trying to talk to her in the ring.
See, I used to never see that stuff until after I would watch Botchamania. Because Botchamania, they pointed out in the little clips. Like, I remember years ago when Dolph basically called the whole fucking Elimination Chamber. Like, he might as well have had a megaphone. Like, the other strunces were so fucking stupid. He had to call the whole match. Which, I mean, he's the one to do it if you're.
But, like, she's trying to do stuff with Jade, and Jade can't do it. And then there's a thing where, like.
She's pick you up and slam your forearm. That's about it, I think.
Goldberg had
better moves than her, more than her.
Also, Goldberg had Goldberg had the best spear.
An aura. Because he had the story.
That's what I said.
Yeah, the story behind him. Like he had a story around
Jade Cargill knows one move, and she can't even do it well.
Jade's just a gaudy girl that wears a bunch of shit. That's it. Like I don't see anything with her.
The one thing she did in the Royal Rumble, I mean, again, she got pretty far in the Royal Rumble, but
they obviously weren't that thrilled with it if they took her out.
And that was her debut after multiple months.
It's too easy to put her in against Rhea Ripley. And I don't think you should have her in there squashing Rhea Ripley because Rhea's like the real fucking deal. She's your top woman now that Charlotte's out.
Because now it looks like they're going to have Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch at.
Yeah, but I don't even like that because I think they'd be inclined to put Becky over. And I think Rhea could be like the female Roman. You give it to her for a while,
Maybe they'll pull a Billy Jack Haynes Herc double count out.
Yeah, she could throw up all over her back. All right, after the Seth Rollins promo on Raw about Roman never being there and The Rock's abuse of power, Big E came out and said Seth speaks for the whole locker room on that.
Oh, wait, I thought you have Seth doesn't speak.
Seth does speak for the whole locker room. I'm sorry. If it said doesn't, I meant does. But and then
Big E, who's still out injured.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever coming back. He broke his neck, didn't he?
Yeah, he almost died.
Yeah.
Because of, who was it? Butch or Ridge Holland?
I forget.
One of the guys in the Brawling Brutes.
It's Ridge Holland. The guy that Sheamus's back hurts from carrying for the whole match.
Yeah, didn't Ridge Holland get released, I thought?
Yeah, he's not there anymore. I don't think. Speaking of more locker room bullshit, TNA talent united together and sent a letter to Anthem regarding the fire of Scott D'Amore. They want him back.
They want him back on the dance floor.
They love this guy.
Yeah.
Well, you should comment more on this because you watch more of that TNA than I do. So
I don't watch it anymore. I like watching the old stuff where it's so bad it's amazing.
No, but their matches were good. Like I said, when I was like 05, 06.
Exactly, their matches
when Angle went there, Angle going there made me want to watch them.
Well, at one point, like especially in the mid to late 2000s, when WWE was really shit, in my opinion.
The late 2000s, especially. When they went PG in 07.
Or not even, well.
They were the antithesis.
By the time.
Can't even say that without sounding
By the time you get to because I remember playing the video game SmackDown vs. Raw 07. That game's roster is horrible.
Well, that would have been fall of 06 that came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That game's roster is horrid. There is nobody there. La Resistance, Crime Time.
Oh, Crime Time.
JTG and Shad.
There's wrestling games to talk about today too. I got to get some shit off my chest.
But like the thing is that there was just nobody there. And New Japan was also really shitty at that time, too.
Yeah, New Japan got good around the middle of the last decade because AJ showed up, and that's when the Bullet Club started. Like around 13, they started getting really good.
Around 11.
Well, I started watching at 11 is when they started coming to America because they were going to be in Rahway and I wanted to go.
I think it's like 2010, 2011 is when Okada comes back.
All right, you might be right.
And that's when everything changed.
I'm going by 13 when they were on American television on Access is when that started.
Okay,
I started watching that.
But TNA was really good. They had really good people. They had really good matches. That's also when you had Ring of Honor was around.
Yeah, see, we got I used to be able to watch Ring of Honor, New Japan, WWE, TNA, then AEW comes along. MLW is another one. So, but John Cena, haven't heard from him in a while, admits that before he was the Thugonomics character, nobody bought into him, and Triple H and Vince actually wanted to fire him. They didn't think he was going to catch on.
Wait, before he did the Doctor of Thugonomics?
Yeah, when he was doing the ruthless aggression with the little shorts and shit when he fought
I only know that for one time, though.
He didn't use it very long.
The prototype. That's what he was.
No, that's in Ohio Valley. He has blonde hair and that. Same ring gear, but he doesn't look like that when he comes up. The Rock agreed to step out, and Cody should go against Roman Reigns. And that's behind the scenes. He's agreed to step out. But...
yeah, because nobody wanted it.
Yeah, but now again, like I said earlier, maybe Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody for the main event of night one. And if that does happen, that was apparently Rock's idea.
No, they shouldn't do that, the main event of night one. For what?
Well, what other match could you do? You're going to do one of the girls? It would depend on what the girl match was.
If it's Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, then yeah, I think so.
I would do that.
They're the two biggest women's stars. I don't think it's a very wise decision to have Cody and Roman wrestle 2 nights in a row. Going to make them tired.
Unless there's a stipulation involved. Like if Cody gets pinned, he forfeits the match or something. No. But that would be stupid.
That just tires you out for the next match. It's not safe.
I agree. I don't think he should be wrestling 2 nights in a row. Kevin Patrick recently let go from the SmackDown announce team, lands new job on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV using his real name, Kevin Egan. You still won't be able to understand him.
MLS, like Major League Soccer?
Yeah.
Oh, for the 5 people
he's
that watch that.
He's either Irish or Scottish, so I'm sure. Hey, they've come a long way since they got Messi on Inter Miami. He came over from France. The amount of money those guys get. You know how much it was going to be for him to leave Barcelona? It's a $700 million buyout. It's ridiculous. It dwarfs our sports money by like hundreds of millions of dollars. So, but it is the most popular spectator sport everywhere except here.
Well, and a couple other places like Canada and Japan.
Yeah, Canada's hockey. Japan's got soccer teams, though. They do.
Yeah, but Japan's baseball. China is apparently the biggest sport is table tennis. But
yeah, because they kick our ass on that stuff. All right, now I got some shitty wrestling video game news on a couple of different fronts here. They announced more DLC for WWE 2K24.
I gotta say one thing. I don't know what it is with the graphics in those games. In my opinion, like SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain look better than 2K24. I think that
possibly.
I think they have really shitty motion capture.
Yeah.
I have seen games like motion capture can make games look amazing.
Sure, realism.
Exactly.
How somebody moves.
But I think that they have really shitty motion capture.
Yeah, like when you play Madden, you want to see the guy running back moving like a real running back. Yeah.
Yeah, but with these games, I've played them. The wrestlers don't move like real wrestlers.
No, I didn't like 22.
They're
the last
so
one
janky.
I really liked was 19. 2K19 was the last one I liked.
But you can't even play anymore online.
No, I don't
servers.
I have a whole AEW roster I did for that. I did a bunch of stuff. But anyway, in the wrestling video games news, fucking Post Malone is going to be DLC in 2K24. And who really gives a fuck?
Has he ever wrestled?
Me. No, he's a fucking
I know he's a musical
musician.
artist.
Did you hear him do America the Beautiful at the Super Bowl? It was the worst rendition I ever heard. It's like he was whispering.
Well, like, it's not like Bad Bunny. Like, Bad Bunny is actually wrestled when they put him in the games.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, he wrestled Damian Priest at Backlash and that.
He wrestled twice. He wrestled in Puerto Rico. They had him come out in Puerto Rico for that Backlash because it was Puerto Rico. You saw the pop Savio got. Savio sucked. But anyway.
Phil likes Savio.
Oh, Phil. He's got, I can't even call it an eclectic taste in wrestlers.
Doesn't Phil also like Disco Inferno?
Yeah, Savio and Disco Inferno. His name on Bleacher Report was Savio for the Hall of Fame. AEW Fight Forever.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The Season 3 DLC I spoke of last week that was coming out. Well, it came out on Valentine's Day. And like it dope. They got me.
You bought it?
Yes, I did.
Fucking dumbass.
That's right. Because you're supposed to, they advertise Swerve, Claudio, Jamie Hayter, and day-night versions of a beach arena that they've never used ever.
That's never happened in real life.
I know.
The closest thing that they've ever had to that is when they had the Jericho's one year. They had Hangman and Kenny versus Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian for the tag team titles, and they televised that.
Ew.
That's the closest thing that they've ever done to that.
But anyway, you power it up, and I'm going through it because I made up Claudio, so I was going to delete him. You go in there, I can't find him. I can't find Jamie Hayter. I found Swerve. Claudio and Hayter aren't even out yet. They're not out till next fucking month. What kind of shit is that? They charge you $16.99 to give you one wrestler and a ring. Like, THQ, you fucking blow. Can I just say that? How could you
they're not THQ.
It is so. THQ Nordic.
Oh, THQ Nordic. That's different than THQ. THQ went bankrupt over 10 years ago.
Yeah, but THQ knew how to make a good goddamn wrestling game.
Yeah, they went bankrupt.
They made the rest of 2K games before 2K made them. Like 12 and 13 and all that. Those are all THQ.
Yeah, THQ
and 13
bankrupt.
is great with all the attitude layer. But it's just bullshit that, like, they're going to... What they're saying is, oh, we're going to support this forever and you're going to have to pay for new content. No, you cocksuckers. I'm paying for not an unfinished game to get finished. And by the time I buy it, it's going to cost me more than it cost my first fucking car when I was a kid.
Cyberpunk 2077, when that game came out unfinished, that game got finished for free.
Because that's what you should do
exactly.
when you fuck over the consumer. Because all they do is, you're going to buy this. Bend over while I stick this big advertising dick up your ass a little bit deeper. I'm servicing the account. The account needs service.
God.
Fuck them.
Wait, have you ever made up Hannibal in a wrestling game?
No. Why would I waste the spot?
I don't even know what his move. I've never even seen him wrestle.
It's the stab. All right. Tommy Dreamer, new head of TNA Creative, but I added this later. You might not have this on the format. But he refutes the rumors. Or does he possibly not remember they gave him the job? Because he's been hit in the head so many times since Clinton was president.
What is the thing you said about
his brain's tapioca?
He forgot that there were
groceries in the car. Yeah, he said that himself.
I remember when they had this digital media champion. He said he was too fat to wear the belt around his waist.
It's the Jenny Craig champion, the Slim Fast champion.
And that's what I told you.
The Sanhedrin Cruiserweight title.
That's when Crazy Steve stabbed him with a fork.
Would ragu come out of him? Did butter just pour out of his fat ass? Anyway. All right, but yeah, he's refuting the rumor. He might be good at creative. He was an office guy for WWE for years.
Yeah. After he was going to kill Vince, Paul Heyman, and himself at WrestleMania.
Just Paul Heyman. I never heard Vince. I just heard Paul Heyman.
Oh, yeah, it was just Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman was up front. He was going to charge over the
That's how they found out ECW was closed. They turned on Raw, and Paul walked out to do the commentary. They were like, motherfucker.
Yeah, he was going to charge over the barricade at WrestleMania X7, shoot Paul, and then shoot himself.
You know what? That would have ruined it. Like, if that was a different pay-per-view, I would have said, yeah, that would have spiced it up. But WrestleMania X7 was good from start to finish. If that was WrestleMania 15, that would have made the show.
WrestleMania 15, is that the one where there's no singles matches? No, that's 2000.
Yeah, 15 is the one in Philly. The one I couldn't get tickets to. And they hung the boss man, but you could see the harness underneath his fucking
Rick, that's
shield.
when you said that sucked, but then they had Backlash 99.
Backlash 99 is fucking great. Phil called me over when that started. He goes, yo, I ordered Backlash. Come over. It was fucking great. I got over to see Hardcore Holly put Al Snow through the table with a superplex, long ways off the top rope. They were fighting in the snow. It was in Providence. But scrap plans for Cody and the Bloodline feud were Cody to get injured on 2/2/24 SmackDown to get him out of the match, apparently, before they brought The Rock in with this. That was going to get Cody out of it. If they did that, at least you would understand the moves a little more. You know, the move with the feud. You would understand it a little better. Rob Van Dam will be at the 420 Dynamite. I wrote, duh, he's a burnout. Of course he will be.
What do you mean he's a burnout?
He's a pothead. He's a huge pothead.
I know, he's always been.
He smokes dope on his podcast all the time.
So does Kevin Nash.
Yeah, he doesn't. I never seen him do it. Kevin Nash is very professional looking. It's the content of it that bites donkey balls. Braun Breaker side with SmackDown. This past Friday.
So he's going up to the main roster officially?
Yep. Well, they have to have somebody big up there to throw people around now that he's taking Brock's spot, it sounds like to me. And on the 216 SmackDown, if you didn't watch the promo, The Rock officially joined the Bloodline. They did a little salute and all that shit, and all that happy horse shit they do, But like I said, I firmly believe he's going to fuck over the Bloodline.
There's only 3 people in the Bloodline.
Yeah, but I could see Roman would probably wind up hooking up with Jay again to get help or something. Jay, Seth, and it's not too early to book Survivor Series. The Rock takes, but The Rock being a part-time, we're only going to book him for so many dates. So you do The Rock's team against Roman's team at Survivor Series.
They could do the new Shield: Jay, Roman, and Seth.
You'd have Cody, Roman, Seth. I don't know. We'll talk about this later.
Jay.
I just came up with this now. We'll talk about it later. ECW, original ECW pay-per-view, barely legal, removed from Peacock, then put back on, but you can't search for it.
Why was it removed?
There's no explanation. I can't find an explanation anywhere. I found people bitching about it because they didn't understand why it was gone.
Yeah, but the ECW stuff on there is so terrible because it's all censored.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to watch my shit because I have this.
Yeah, one of the best moments in wrestling ever is Pillman's debut promo.
That was not censored in the beginning because I got it off of the network. Yeah,
but it is now.
It seems like when they went to Peacock, they edited more shit.
Yeah,
it seems like when it was just them running it, there was.
I'm gonna rip out my Johnson and piss in this hellhole.
Brian fucking Pillman, Booker man,
your pencil.
Yeah, everybody wrestles the pencil.
Let him piss! Let him piss! Let him piss! Brian Pillman is being dragged out of the arena by Philadelphia's finest.
Nick Nemeth apparently had asked for his release from WWE several times before they actually did it.
Oh, really?
He wasn't doing anything. Ever since it was the Dirty Heels, him and Bobby Roode were a good team. And your favorite and mine, Chris Jericho, Tubby Ton, to be off AEW TV for a few weeks due to Fozzy being on tour.
Who cares about Fozzy?
And Ospreay, you want to talk about Revolution, right?
Yeah, I'll read the card
Ospreay versus Take a Shit has been added for that.
Hey, Take a Shit's a good wrestler.
Takeshita.
He's a very good wrestler.
Well, he's going to be in there. That guy could make a stem full of grapes look good. Ospreay. I mean, not that Take's not good, but let's go over Revolution and then we'll go to the break before we.
And then we'll talk about how long have we been going for?
We're about 40. So
okay.
Just go over Revolution.
And then I want to talk about. I want to do the stuff we did before in the last take.
What?
That we lost.
Yeah. All right. When we come back from the break, we'll do that first. You can
and then we'll be done.
And then we'll do the sex scandal quick, and we'll be done.
Oh God, sex scandal. Not interested. Okay,
dude, it's going to be getting worse. We got to cover it. Everybody's covering it, and we're doing good. And I do all this extra work watching this shit in my free time. You know how much crap you know how many podcasts I've watched?
No, not 2023, 2024.
Yeah, Revolution, right? You know how many fucking podcasts I've watched about this sex scandal?
Yeah, you even listen to Russo's.
Yeah, a lot of them are right-wing fucking MAGA Republican cunts that I can't stand. And I still listen to them. Go ahead. Revolution, which is what date? What's the date for Revolution?
March 3rd.
Oh, it's that early? It's coming up.
Yeah, it's earlier than usual. Sting and Darby Allin, accompanied by Ric Flair, versus the Young Bucks for the Tag Team Championship. This will be Sting's retirement match. Orange Cassidy as the champion versus Roderick Strong, accompanied by Matt Taven and Mike Bennett for the International Championship. Samoa Joe is the champion.
Wait, is that a three-way for the International?
No.
Say it again.
Orange Cassidy as the champion
okay.
will take on Roderick Strong, accompanied by
I didn't hear
Matt Taven
okay,
and Mike Bennett, the Kingdom.
All right.
Third match. Now, this obviously is not in chronological order yet, because we're not going to know the exact order of the matches.
No, that's fine. Yeah, they're never in chronological on there until after.
Samoa Joe versus Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland, accompanied by Prince Nana.
Do we think this is where Swerve's going to take it?
Yes, I hope so. I said that last week.
I know, but do you still feel that way?
Yes, he's going to pin Hangman.
And then him and Joe could have a couple return matches, maybe?
Or the reason I'm saying that is so that Joe doesn't look any worse.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of a three-way. So you can take the champion out of it and not make them look like dog shit. That's the whole reason these matches were invented. Unless you have to pin the champion or it's elimination. But if you watch, 9 times out of 10, they're not elimination anymore. It's just first fall wins.
Number 4, Timeless Tony Storm with Mariah May and her butler Luther versus Deonna Purrazzo for the women's championship.
Oh, that'll be good. I mean, I want to see like a count out there or something. I don't want to see Deonna look like shit, and I don't want I'm not ready for Tony to lose it yet.
Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. Eddie Kingston, the singles match for Eddie Kingston's Continental Crown Championship.
What are they doing with Danielson? What are they doing with him? He doesn't do anything of any kind of consequence ever.
He puts on good matches.
Well, yeah, but
that's what he does.
Yeah, but he doesn't win. He doesn't have any titles. I know he's not talking about wrestling that much longer, but
so if Danielson wins, he gets Eddie's title. If Danielson loses, he has to shake Kingston's hand.
All right, it's a good stipulation. I mean, it's a stipulation nonetheless. It's a grudge match, so should have something more.
And Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita.
That'll be good. I could see that. Either that or Orange Cassidy's one's going to open the night. And I don't think you would have Ospreay open. I would have Cassidy and, who is it, Taven or Strong? Which one's he fighting and which one's accompanying him?
Roderick Strong.
Yeah, Strong and him, I would have it open. Roddy's always the opener. He was opener. I used to go to those ROH shows in Philly. So, that's the whole card?
Yep.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually going to watch that. So maybe I'll actually come over and watch that one. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back with shit we fucked up in the beginning and the news.
Pageantry, the excitement, the magnificence. And night heroes are created. Careers are defined, and legends are born.
Down on my knees, I've seen things that you wouldn't believe. I was lost until I found that
Still
I'm
WrestleMania, you've done something special.
gonna bring me down.
Irresistible force meeting the immovable object. The boy of the dream has come true. The greatest streak of all time. Oh my God! Here we go. Here we go. Brace yourself. You're gonna be in for one hell of a night.
I'm invincible. Nobody gonna bring me down.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Nobody gonna bring me down.
This is Mike Tyson, and I'm gonna punch Iconoclastic right in his fucking mouth next time I see him for talking about me. You're listening to the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast.
All right, we are back on the Iconoclastic Wrestling Podcast. Iconoclast had to head out. He had some kind of emergency duty calls. But in his place, I'm going to have AI Vince back here.
What's up, Mika?
Maybe he can explain to us, about him naming those dildos after some of the wrestlers.
I have a collection of black plastic penises. This one's name is Ernie Ladd. And over here we have Ron Simmons. And then we have Thunderbolt Patterson. He's a vibrator.
Wow, I honestly don't even know what to say about that. But, with Iconoclast here, I'm going to go over to the thing that everybody wants to talk about. It is the Vince McMahon sex trafficking scandal. So without any further ado, let's get into that. Okay, so far, Seth Grimes, many of you may know who he is on YouTube. I did not know until this past week. Seth Grimes of Seth Grimes Media on YouTube breaks down who he thinks is who on the court filing. Very good episode. I encourage you to look it up. It's about 2.5 hours, so if you're really into law, if you're really into like detective work, it'll really help you out. But I'm going to break that down for you right now. Now, Iconoclast and I were talking about this before the before we went on the air today, and in the filing, when we broke the filing a couple weeks back in what I think is our best episode, they had they had a UFC heavyweight champion, which everybody is alluding to be Brock Lesnar, and they also had a WWE superstar on there. Now, this Seth Grimes thinks that they're the same person, because he has WWE Superstar listed as Brock Lesnar. Iconoclast and I, especially Iconoclast, said that he thinks it may be somebody else, but only time will tell. So this is per Seth Grimes of Seth Grimes Media. The WWE Superstar named in the indictment he believes is Brock Lesnar. TV production tech team would be Kevin Dunn and the boys in the production truck. Ugh. The referee. Now, this was a trusted referee, a referee who's been there forever, and this Seth Grimes went through a lot of process of elimination with some of these referees, who's still there, who isn't. But a name some of you might be familiar with, Mike Chioda, longtime referee. Maybe the referee that went off into the bathroom and flogged his dolphin after he saw the pictures. Yeah. WWE employee number 1, per Seth Grimes, is a guy named Rich Herring. Now, Rich Herring is a longtime employee there, but you fans my age in your 40s may remember him as the preacher for the match made in heaven at SummerSlam 91 between the marriage between Randy Savage and Elizabeth. So look that up if you want to take a look at him. WWE corporate officers 1 and 2 almost are exclusively named as being spoken to together by Vince or speaking to Janelle Grant together. So you have really no other option other than that's Triple H and Stephanie. Which, if it is, and they knew about this, depending on how much they knew, I don't think it's going to be long for Triple H to, I don't know if it's going to be long for Triple H to be there as the chief content officer. WWE corporate officer number 3 has been left blank because he could not figure that out. But WWE corporate officer number 4 is Brian Nurse, longtime attorney there. So that is, like I said, Seth Grimes of Seth Grimes Media, if you guys want to take a look at that. And other news about this, Matt Riddle not surprised about Vince McMahon allegations. So, but I don't know, I'm sure Matt Riddle's got enough things hidden in his closet there, between his sexual misconduct allegations and everything, and whatever happened to him at that airport. So, you got to consider the source who's talking about you there. But, and in other over-the-top comments, Bret Hart likens Vince McMahon to Jeffrey Dahmer, Harvey Weinstein, and Jeffrey Epstein. And the Hitman also said Vince's legacy is ruined, and he's okay with the truth coming out. All right, maybe Vince would be like Harvey, especially Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein as well. But Jeffrey Dahmer, I mean, he's not killing people and eating them. I don't really think we have to, go that route. But in a little off-topic news, strange revelation, I've been reading it online. I forget where I read it, but it says that Vince McMahon taught Donald Trump how to control a crowd. Explains a lot with him on the campaign trail now and everything. And by the time of this airing, we're on, as of 2/16 last Friday night, was the 21-day deadline about the lawsuit. There should have been an answer or an extension. I cannot find anything online about it. So we're just going to have to wait and see. New news comes out about this every day, folks. So if you, anybody else wants to look up something, put something in the comments, I'd be more than glad to talk about it if I'm missing something here. But everybody's covering this. And like I tell Iconoclast, this needs to be talked about. This is a big goddamn deal. ECW's Francine, you guys remember her as a manager of the franchise, Shane Douglas, one of my all-time favorites, said when she was with WWE, she had heard stories, but she was told by an unnamed higher-up, if you wanted to get noticed by Vince, you should oil up your boobs, knock on his door, and lean over his desk and put them right in his face. She refused. Explains why, Francine didn't last long in WWE. Not that that's, cool, because it's not. Jackie Gata, who won the second season of Tough Enough and worked for WWE from 2002 to 2005, said Vince made a pass at her and she rejected him. She would go on to marry Charlie Haas. When they got married, Vince buried the two of them, which is a shame because Charlie Haas was something else with Shelton Benjamin doing the World's Greatest Tag Team and all that. Okay, this is the big news of the week. And we're going to go back to Ashley Massaro. Cara Pipia, P-I-P-I-A, good friend of Ashley Massaro, has come out and said Stephanie McMahon knew of the sexual assault in Kuwait. I have direct quotes from her, too, that I'm going to go over. Also, she said that they used to hand out Somas in the locker room, some kind of prescription drug. I'm not sure what it does. I'm working on that as well. But back then, apparently, you did not wrestle if you were hurt. You just took a Somas. And, well, by the time Ashley was assaulted, she had become addicted to Somas. So she was already in some kind of state when she was taken and whisked off by that doctor. And she was left there as well talk about everything else happened there. She was left there. Everyone else was flown home. She was left there. I'm not sure if it was medical attention or whatever, but I'm sure you couldn't wait to get the hell out of a third world country like that, especially after that. If nothing happened to you, you probably couldn't wait to get home, but especially after that. Now, right here, I got some direct quotes from Cara Papilla. She's done many interviews in the course of the past week. And regarding to Ashley Mazzaro, Cara Papilla says, she spoke with Vince McMahon many times. Vince and his daughter Stephanie would take his place because she was a woman, and to make Ashley feel comfortable. And they just played with her. They played with her because everything that Stephanie said made her feel comfortable and safe. As soon as they walked into the boardroom meeting, Ashley was on her own completely, and she was threatened, and there was no compassion, there was no sympathy, there was nothing. Next, they asked about John Laurinaitis confirming Ashley's allegations. Papilla said, it's about time somebody had a conscience, because there's never a single moment of time that I didn't believe a word that Ash had told me. And in a message to Vince McMahon, Cara says, shame on you. How do you look at yourself? Obviously, he has problems. Obviously, he's a sexual deviant. He needs help. He's not well. The problem is that people with that kind of sickness and that mindset or power, why do they thrive for so long? Why doesn't anybody stand up? Why are there so many people in that company aware of what's going on to all these women? Women who keep committing suicide year after year after year, and nobody stands up and says anything. Nobody tries to protect these young women, because it's not just Vince, it's the whole frickin' company. That's a direct quote. And then when she was asked if the assault contributed to Ashley Massaro's 2019 suicide, Papilla said, absolutely. So, well, it's a shame when you look at the background of what's going on in the pro wrestling business with deviancy and sexual assault. And I mean, drugs have always been there. I mean, I grew up hearing about, coke in the 80s and everything that everybody was doing. So, and my favorite finding of the last week, Earl Hebner, former referee at a K&S WrestleFest signing. Earl was asked about the allegations against McMahon, and he did not pull his punches. Sounds like he's saving some stuff to cash in on it, but he wrote, the only thing I could say is, he said, the only thing I could say is I hope justice is served. Between Vince and John, they are in a heap of trouble. I think Johnny is trying to jump ship on Vince now. They're both in this thing together. Vince knows what he was doing. Johnny knew about what he was doing, or Johnny knew what he was doing. That's all I could say. I could say more and really bury them, but I'm just going to wait and let justice be served. My next book, I'm going to bring everything to that. You're thinking the next book is going to be a jury book. I'm going to let it all out. Allegations go as far back as 1988, and that's all I know because that's when I started working there. The bullshit was going on then, and it's still probably going on now. Well, like I said before, you're going to go... This whole thing with him and Brock about, him trying to procure this woman for him to get him to re-sign. I mean, Brian Last said it on Jim Cornette Experience. He's had some strange relationship with top guys over the years. I mean, how far does this go back? I mean, was there any talks with Hogan for this? When he got Hogan to come back in 93? Who knows? I mean, I'm sure a lot's going to come out, but I mean, it's just trickling out, dribs and drabs like me at the bathroom at my age. But Chicago-based law firm Pintus and Mullins is actively seeking victims related to allegations against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE. The law firm has launched a website, wwesettlements.com, featuring a contact form for individuals who may have experienced sexual assault, made to feel uncomfortable, or witnessed abuse by Vince McMahon or anyone from WWE UFC, suggesting potential entitlement to compensation. I'm sure TKO Holdings is happy to see WWE/UFC because they weren't even part of this company until the last year. And finally, going back to the other things that may have happened in the past, Paul Roma of the formerly of the Four Horsemen, Pretty Wonderful, the Young Stallions, and God knows what else. I can't even remember. He came out and was talking about guys back in the 80s and early 90s having to possibly being asked for male sexual favors in order to get their push. And his ex-partner, Jim Powers, was brought up. And I had heard this story before from Pat Patterson, basically told him, you're going to have to let me give you a blowjob or you're not going to go anywhere. And he even said to me, you just got to lay back and, don't even think about anything. And Marty Jannetty told him the story years later. They're driving down the road and Jim Powers said to him, yep, all I would have had to do was lay there and not think about anything else. But it shows you what's going on back there. I mean, I was a little kid at the time, but Pat Patterson, for all the good he brought to the sport of professional wrestling, I mean, his legacy's ruined with all this stuff. And then, years later, he comes out as gay on the Legends House when everybody knew he was gay for 25, 30 years anyway. It wasn't a secret. So, but anyway, that's going to be our show for this week. And Iconoclast will be back on me next week. And we're going to sign off. Good night, everybody.
Get your hand off my penis!